Hello everyone, welcome to the session on discrete mathematics. In this session, we will be discussing about matrices and determinants. In this session, we will see what we mean by matrix, what are the different types of matrices, what are the different operations that can be performed on matrices, and finally, we will see the concept of determinant. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel, and do subscribe to the channel to see many more videos on the various topics of the subjects of electronics and computer science. So let us start the session with the question what we mean by matrix. In discrete mathematics, we know that we need to study various mathematical concepts that are useful in computer programming. Now, whenever you see any image, and we know that the computer is able to store the image. Now, have you ever thought of how the image is being stored in computers? Then this image can be stored in computers by using the concept of matrix. Matrix, you can say, is a rectangular arrangement of numbers or symbols, which will consist of number of rows and number of columns. A matrix can also be called as a vector. A matrix is an array, and this array is used to represent the data. As shown in this window, a matrix A is being represented by a table where the first element is A11, the second element is A12, the third element is A13. So it means that there are 3 rows and there are 3 columns as far as this matrix is concerned. So matrix may contain m rows and n columns. And if the matrix contains m rows and n columns, then we say that the order of the matrix is m by n. So as far as this matrix is concerned, the order of the matrix is 3 by 3. In matrix A, Aij will refer to the element in the ith row and jth column. So for example, A21 is the element from the second row and first column. A22 is the element from the second row and second column. Or A33 is the element from the third row and the third column. Matrix, or the concept of matrix, is very useful in computers, because whenever we want to represent any image, then this image can be represented in computers or can be stored in the memory of computers by using matrix. So every image is being converted into a matrix which will consist of zeros and ones, and this data is being stored in the memory of the computer. So whenever we write several algorithms in computer graphics, or whenever we study image processing, or whenever we study computer vision or graph theory, or whenever we go for the genetic analysis by using computers, or whenever we go for the cryptography, then all these subjects will require the use of matrix. Matrix is also used to solve the system of linear equations. So whenever you have been given a system of linear equations, then the solution of this system can be found out by using matrix. So let us now understand what are the different types of matrices. There are different types of matrices. So for example, we have the matrices such as row matrix, column matrix, zero matrix or null matrix, diagonal matrix, scalar matrix, unit matrix, upper triangular matrix, and lower triangular matrix. Now let us go for the definition of each type of the matrix. A row matrix is a matrix where there is a single row. So as shown in this window, this is a matrix which will consist of only one row, and therefore this matrix can be called as a row matrix. If the matrix consists of only a single column, then this matrix can be called as a column matrix, or sometimes it is also called as vector matrix. If the matrix consists of all elements where all elements are zero, as shown in this window, if the elements of matrix are equal to 0, then this matrix can be called as a zero matrix or null matrix. The symbol O is being used to represent the zero matrix or null matrix. And this matrix has the property that A plus O is equal to O plus A is equal to A. The matrix is called as a square matrix if it has the same number of rows and columns. That is, the order of the matrix is n by n. Say for example, as shown in this window, this matrix is having 3 rows and 3 columns, and therefore this matrix can be called as a square matrix. In the square matrix, a matrix can be called as a diagonal matrix if all the elements are 0 except in the main or principal diagonal. So as shown in this window, one can easily find that the principal diagonal is not equal to 0. It consists of the elements A, B, C, while the rest of the elements of the matrix are equal to 0. And therefore, in such a case, the matrix can be called as a diagonal matrix. So the condition for the diagonal matrix is that Aij is equal to 0 if I is not equal to j, and Aij is not equal to 0 for at least one I equal to j. Another type of the matrix is being called as a scalar matrix. Scalar matrix is a diagonal matrix in which all the diagonal elements are same. So as shown in this window, one can easily observe that all the diagonal elements are same and they are A, and therefore this matrix can be called as a scalar matrix. There is a concept of unit matrix or identity matrix. Unit matrix or identity matrix is a matrix in which the diagonal elements are equal to 1 and the rest of the elements are equal to 0. That is, as shown in this window, all the diagonal elements are equal to 1 and the rest of the elements are equal to 0, and therefore such a matrix can be called as an identity matrix. Normally, we make the use of the symbol I for the identity matrix, and therefore we can say that A into I is equal to I into A is equal to A. That is, the identity matrix will hold this multiplication property. There is another type of the matrix called as the upper triangular matrix. This is a square matrix in which all the entries below the main diagonal are equal to 0. And such a matrix is being called as a upper triangular matrix. So as shown in this window, one can easily observe that below the main diagonal, all the elements are equal to 0, and therefore this matrix can be called as a upper triangular matrix. There is a concept of lower triangular matrix. Lower triangular matrix is a matrix in which all the entries above the main diagonal are equal to 0. And therefore, one can easily observe that the entries in this matrix above the main diagonal are equal to 0. And therefore, this matrix can be called as a lower triangular matrix. Now, let us understand the two important operations called as the equality and transpose of the matrix. The two matrices A and B are said to be equal if and only if they have the same order. So the number of rows and number of columns must be the same, and each element of the matrix A is equal to the corresponding element of the matrix B. That is, Aij is equal to Bij. Say for example, if A is equal to 2130 and B is equal to 4 by 2, 2 minus 1 under root 90, then one can easily observe that these two matrices are equal because the number of rows and number of columns are same, that is, their order is same, and also each element is same. There is another operation that is being called as a transpose operation. The transpose of a matrix can be obtained by changing the rows to the columns and columns to the rows. And normally, whenever we write the transpose of a matrix, then it is being written as A, and then we write T as a superscript for A. Say for example, if we have been given a matrix which consists of one row and having elements 1, 2, then its transpose is equal to a column matrix consisting of one column of elements 1, 2. Similarly, we can obtain the transpose of this matrix. So the first column 1, 3 will be converted into row, and the second column 2, 4 will be converted into the second row. Now suppose we are having this matrix consisting of 3 rows, then its transpose is equal to 1, 3, 5, this is the first row, and 2, 4, 6, this is the second row. So whenever we interchange the rows and columns of a matrix, then we can obtain the transpose of a matrix. So if you obtain one more transpose of this matrix, then one can easily observe that we will get the same matrix. So transpose of a matrix is equal to the same matrix. Transpose operation is very useful for matrices because this operation is used for the linear transformations such as scaling and rotation. So whenever we want to perform the scaling of the image or rotation of the image, then in that case, we can make the use of this operation. Let us understand some algebra of matrices or different algebraic operations that can be performed on the matrices. The first operation is being called as addition. The two matrices A and B, if they are of the same order n by n, then their addition is A plus B, which is the matrix C, of which the order will be m by n in such a way that each element of the C is the sum of the corresponding elements of A and B. So for example, if A is equal to 312, 214, and B is equal to 102 minus 1304, then we can obtain C, which is the addition of A and B, A plus B, where we will add each element of A into the corresponding element of B. That is 3 plus 1, 1 plus 0, 2 plus 2, then 2 minus 1, 1 plus 3, and 4 plus 0. So this is just nothing but 414, 144 is the resultant matrix. The subtraction of the two matrices is also possible. If A and B are the two matrices of the order m by n, then their difference A minus B, which is the matrix C, is also m by n matrix in such a way that each element of the C is the difference of the corresponding elements of A and B. Say for example, if A is equal to 6, 2, 7 minus 5 and B is equal to 8, 1, 3, 4, then we can obtain the subtraction of A minus B as 6 minus 8, then 2 minus 1, 7 minus 3, minus 5 minus 4. So which is just nothing but minus 2, 1, 4, and minus 9. So one can easily observe that as far as the addition and subtraction operation is confirmed, then addition of the matrices is commutative and it is also associative. That is, A plus B is always equal to B plus A. Or whenever we perform the operation such as A plus B plus C, which is just nothing but A plus B plus C. Addition and subtraction operations are not defined for the different order matrices. So whenever you want to add two matrices or whenever you want to subtract two matrices, then it is necessary that their order must be same. It is possible that we can multiply a matrix by a scalar. Suppose we have been given a matrix A and suppose there is some scalar or a number K, then we can obtain K into A. It is a matrix where each element of the A will get multiplied by K. For example, if A is equal to 4 minus 3, 8 minus 2 minus 1, 0, and if we multiply this matrix by K, then we will get the resultant matrix Ka, which is equal to 4 into K minus 3 into K, 8 into K minus 2 into K minus K and 0. It is also possible that we can perform the multiplication of the two matrices, or we can take the product of the two matrices. But the condition is that the number of columns of the matrix A that must be equal to the number of rows of the matrix B, and then we can perform the product A into B, and it will have the same rows as that of A and the same number of columns as that of B. Say for example, we have been given a matrix A consisting of 2 rows and 2 columns. of which the elements are A11, A12, A21, A22. And there is another matrix B of which the elements are B11, B12, B21, and B22. Now one can easily observe that the number of columns of A is equal to the number of rows of B, and therefore here it is possible that we can take the product of the two matrices, and therefore A into B will be obtained as A11 into B11 plus A12 into B21. That is, we will take the first row of A and the first column of B, and then we will multiply the corresponding elements and we will make the addition to obtain the resultant element. Similarly, now we will take the first row and the second column, the first row of the A and second column of the B to get the next element A11 into B12 plus A12 into B22. To obtain the third element, we will do like that. We will take the second row and the first column of B, and then we will multiply the corresponding elements and then we will add it together. So A21 into B11 plus A22 into B21. And finally, we will take the second row of the first matrix and second column of the second matrix to obtain the last element A21 into B12 plus A22 into B22. Say for example, if A is equal to 1, 2, minus 1, 3 and B is equal to 2, 1, 1, 1, then we can take A into B, the product of the two matrices, as 2 into 1 plus 2 into 1, that is 2 plus 2, then 1 plus 2, then minus 2 plus 3, minus 1 plus 3. So we will get the resultant 4, 3, 1, 2. So multiplication of the two matrices is not commutative. That is, if we take the product of AB, then you will find that it is not equal to the product of B into A. And therefore, in general, we can say that the multiplication of the two matrices is not commutative. If you take the multiplication of the matrix A with itself, then that can be written as A into A, which is just nothing but A square. Associative and distributive laws will hold for the multiplication. That is, if A, B, C are the matrices of the order M by P, P by Q, and Q by N, respectively, then we can have the associative law. That is, AB into C is equal to A into BC, or C into A plus B is equal to CA plus CB, and A plus B into C is equal to AC plus BC. That is, the associative law and the distributive law will hold for the multiplication of the matrices. Also, when we take the product of the matrix with identity matrix, that is A into I, it is just nothing but I into A, which is equal to the same matrix A. Now let us go for understanding the concept of determinant. The determinant of a matrix is a scalar or number that is being obtained from the elements of the matrix by the specified operations. So for example, we have been given a matrix A consisting of the elements A11, A12, A21, and A22. Then we can obtain the determinant of A, and it is being written as DETA, or two vertical lines and A. So which is just nothing but A11 into A22. So we will take the diagonal multiplication minus A12 into A21. So for example, if we have been given a matrix 3, 1, minus 2, 3, then we can obtain the determinant of this matrix as 3 into 3, 9, minus 2. So this is just nothing but 11. So whenever we obtain the determinant of a matrix, then you will get only one number. Determinant are to be defined only for the square matrices. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix, and therefore for this matrix we can obtain the determinant. It is also possible that if the matrix is 3 by 3 matrix consisting of 3 rows and 3 columns, then also you can obtain the determinant of this matrix. And this determinant can be given by using this formula A11 into you have to exclude this column and this row. So the rest of the elements that you have to put over here, A22, A23, A32, A33 minus, then you have to take the second element A12, then exclude this column and this row. So the rest of the elements A21, A23, A31 and A33 need to be put over here, plus A13. Then you have to exclude this column and this row, and the rest of the determinant you need to put over here, A21, A22, A31, A32. So this is just nothing but A11 into A22, A33 minus A23 into A32 minus A12 into A21, A33 minus A23, A31 plus A13 into A21, A32 minus A22, A31. So one can easily observe that each determinant is in the sum is obtained by deleting the particular row and particular column, and this is being called as a minus. And the sign here can be positive or negative, and it will depend upon this expression -1 raised to I plus j into aij. Now let us go for the definition of adjoint and inverse of a matrix. Adjoint of a matrix A is the order n by n, and we can obtain the adjoint by using the cofactor for each element of the matrix. So if we have been given a matrix A, which will consist of the elements 1, 0, -1, 1, 3, 1, 0, 1, 2, then one can easily find the cofactors of A. So the first element will have the cofactor, you have to exclude this column and row. So 3 into 2 minus 1, that is 5. Then A12 will have the cofactor -2. A13 will have the cofactor +1. A21 will have the cofactor -1. A22 will have the cofactor 2. A23 will have the cofactor -1. A31 will have the cofactor 3. A32 will have the cofactor -2, and A33 will have the cofactor 3. So you will get a matrix of cofactors, and then you have to take the transpose of this matrix in order to obtain the adjoint. That is, you have to convert each column into row, so that 5 minus 1 3 column will be converted into row 5 minus 1 3. The second row will be -2 2 -2, and the third row will be +1 -1 and 3. So adjoint is useful for us whenever we want to obtain the inverse of a matrix. If A is a non-singular square matrix, then its inverse can be obtained as adjoint of A divided by determinant of A. So non-singular means the determinant of A should not be equal to 0. Say for example, if you have been given a matrix A consisting of the elements 3, 4, 1, 2, then its adjoint is just nothing but 2, -4, -1, 3. If we take the determinant of A, it will be 2. And therefore we can obtain the inverse of the matrix A is equal to 1 by 2 into the matrix 2, -4, -1, 3. So non-singular, it means the determinant of the matrix A should not be equal to 0. So inverse matrix operation is very useful operation, because whenever you study computers, then you will find that in computers, whenever we go for 3D modeling, or whenever we go for the transformations, or whenever we go for solving the linear differential equations, then in all such cases, you will be required to compute the inverse of a matrix. So thank you, friends, for viewing the session. Hopefully you have understood what we mean by matrices and determinants. Thank you all for viewing the session.